name is Nigel Chambers of Big Gold Belt Media. Brendan, it's a pleasure to talk to you today. Season one, I got a chance to check it all out. So it is in the book for you, but folks will get a chance to check it out December 13th on Hulu, which goes right into my first question. Now that you got the first one done, and there's obviously a lot more story to be told, how you feeling? The excitement of the season dropping, but obviously thinking forward about season two and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of nerves, obviously, with everyone seeing what we've been up to. But I would say that myself and the writers are kind of at work right now, trying to build out the future. We have a lot of exciting things to cook up and to share. So you guys got to watch it. You guys got to watch every episode so we can get there. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. I've been a fan of the slate of work that FX and Hulu has been putting out over the year. They've been killing it. And I was at New York Comic Con and heard that FX had a new show, and I said, you know what? Let me see what's up with this. I thought I was done for the day, and I went to the screening of the first episode, and I can say that I felt like the energy and the fans within the room were absolutely loving it. So obviously, I did my due diligence to try to check out the rest of the season, and it is a ride, and I'm already hooked. Even though I hasn't dropped it, ready for more here. And they also gave me the novel behind me as well in terms of the swag there. So that now brings me to my next question, because now that I had a chance to check out the season, have not had the chance to check out read the novel yet. I would like to know what's some of the differences between the two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the biggest difference is that the novel, which was written in like 1979, is set in 1976. So we made this bold choice early on with the blessing of the estate to set it in 2016, and sort of anything that's changed as a result of that big choice ultimately. I mean, famously in the book, our two heroes, or rather our hero and her love interest, are married, but in our world, I think someone referred to it as a situationship. So we'll see what we can do with that. And in the original book too, Dana is an orphan, and she's an orphan in our book. But one of the things she learns in this story is that she may not actually be an orphan after all, and that becomes one of the big intrigues that pulls us through, hopefully, the remainder of our story.
Absolutely. Yep. It does, involve time travel, and I always love to hear one's sort of articulation of what time travel is for this series. How would you describe what time travel is for this series?
Yeah, I mean, at first she doesn't know what it is. She thinks it's a dream. She thinks it's an hallucination. It still might be an hallucination. We don't know. But really, it's just the experience of something pulling her back to the past. And at first, she doesn't know where she is or why she's there. But it's the puzzle she has to ultimately put together. And in this version, she just happens to be going back to like the absolute worst time in history to be a black woman. So,
Yeah.
her managing that as a contemporary person is part of the intrigue, part of the kind of tension and conflict of our story.
Yeah. I think Mallory does a fantastic job in
Absolutely.
this, and I would love to kind of know what sort of guidance and what sort of should I say sort of just in terms of helping her find balance between the two different time periods.
Mm.
Is this a character that's supposed to feel the same in both the current and in the past? Or is there a little bit of like, guidance and or suggestions to kind of make them feel different?
Mm. Yeah, I mean that's sort of a lot of things contribute to that. It's like Mallory's performance, it's the director's choice, right, on some level from episode to episode. But you are supposed to sense that this is that there's a through line here. This is the same woman, but when something like this happens to you, you can't help but you're questioning your very reality. So how are you not ultimately questioning yourself? And really, the kind of long game of the book and hopefully the series is about Dana coming to terms with who she is. Really kind of
Yeah.
getting her fullest sense of self through this experience. And so yeah, she's young. She's like, buying houses. She's doing a lot of stuff. She's kind of all over the place, but it's a story about how history ultimately grounds us, and family becomes the kind of way into that, right? Ideally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also think that Dana takes us, and although this is, sort of within the thriller genre, but it does have surrealism in terms of horror, because you see between the two time periods that she's facing the same
That's
challenges. So
right.
how far have we really come in society?
That's
That's
right.
a scary ass feeling,
Yeah.
and I was not expecting to have that sort of feeling going into this. But it does have great pacing and great toning that it does make it all work. For my one of my final questions for you here, come December 13th, what's that real big element about this that you're hoping that the fans and the audience take away from it?
Wow. I guess I want people to like really be thinking very specifically about what it was to survive back then, what the cost of survival was. Not everyone got to run away. Harriet Tubman only took 300 people to the north, right? But there were people who stayed and persisted, and those people became some of our ancestors, right? And there was also situations where, as Dana learns, you have surprising blood running through your veins that you have to also think deeply about. So I just want people to understand just like, this time period was more than like people getting tied to trees and getting whipped. Like this was a way of life and a system of being that had all kinds of strange iterations and repercussions, and we're still living with so many different forms of the legacies. So I'm just hoping people get into that. I hope people start asking big questions about themselves, as historical beings.
No doubt, absolutely no doubt. And I think also I'm based in the Washington D.C. area, so hearing geographically, saying you were in a certain part of Maryland and potentially folks went to Pennsylvania. I think like actually living in the time period, understanding these distances and understanding the challenges of navigating around just makes it all so much more real. So for my final question, because I do have one more question, I really did love the set locations here. What was just something about the production that just truly excited you?
I mean, it was the sets these people built. I mean, we had an incredible design teams like who did an incredible amount of research, and to walk around those sets, you were walking around like built to scale kind of farms and cabins, and it really brings home for you the reality of these lives back then. And it's just truly like any artist's dream to have people realize for you these things that for so long are just an idea in your mind. I mean, I couldn't be happier with that experience.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Absolutely, my favorite too. So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah.
But Brandon, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Fantastic job with season one. Already fingers in the air crossed for season two, and we hopefully we get a chance to talk again on the
Thank
flip
you
side
very
of things.
much.
And
Thank
folks,
you. Appreciate it.
do your
Good
work,
luck.
folks. December 13th, go check it out.
All right. Bye.
Take care.